Welcome to Back to the Feature, where I watch the full movie so you don't have to. I'm your host, Dwayne, and today we're breaking down the 1982 buddy cop movie 48 Hours, starring Nick Nolte as a renegade cop who needs help from Eddie Murphy as a convict looking to make the most of his temporary freedom. The movie opens with convicted killer and robber Albert Ganz working on a prison road crew out in the middle of nowhere under the watchful eye of prison guards. A big Indian dude named Billy Bear pulls up saying his truck is overheating and looking to get some water to cool it down. Ganz insults Billy and you can tell something is up. Billy gets in his face and Ganz smarts off again and it's off to the races. Billy wrestles Ganz to the ground while the guard just yells at them to stop. Billy and Ganz stop their fake fight long enough to start shooting the guards. Seems old Billy came packing and even brought enough to share with his friend. They managed to take out 2 of the 3 guards before hopping in Billy's truck to escape. Ganz and Billy head to San Francisco looking for money stashed from their last robbery. Their first stop is Henry Wong, one of their former partners, but they end up killing him and taking his credit cards to order up a hotel room and a couple of hookers for later. Next, they track down Luther Kelly, another member of the old crew, and shake him down for the missing cash. Luther knows where it is, but claims he can't get to it until Monday when the place where the money is stashed opens back up. So, Ganz kidnaps Luther's girlfriend Rosalie to make sure he gets it. Across town, Inspector Jack Cates is starting his day off in his usual way. He has a bit to drink with his coffee and then briefly fights with his girlfriend Elaine before heading out into the streets of San Francisco. Jack joins fellow cops Algren and Van Zandt at a hotel after a stolen credit card turns up. Algren and Van Zandt think it's pretty routine and they don't really need Jack's help. But Jack wants in because he could use something a little routine right now. So they agree that he'll stake out the lobby while they go up to the room. As soon as they knock on the hotel room door, Ganz is up on his feet with gun in hand ready to go while Billy grabs Rosalie at gunpoint. Algren and Van Zandt are waiting outside the door having no idea it's actually a multiple room suite with another door. They never see it coming when Ganz and Billy exit out the other door and ambush them. Van Zandt is killed instantly and Algren is wounded. Jack hears the gunfire and bolts upstairs to back them up, only to have to run back down when Algren informs him they're getting away. Everyone hits the lobby at the same time, and this kind of scenario is what Jack's reputation is built for. Ganz takes the receptionist hostage. It's Jack against Ganz and Billy, and they have 2 hostages. Just when it couldn't get any worse, a very wounded Algren comes stumbling down the stairs right into the action, and he's out of bullets. Jack has no choice but to jump out into the open to protect him. Ganz wants Jack to surrender his gun with the promise that Billy won't kill Algren. Jack caves and tosses his gun to Ganz, who keeps his promise as he sends Billy to go get the car. Jack and Algren are kind of stuck as they're unarmed, and Ganz now has 2 guns. Ganz then uses Jack's gun to kill Algren himself, and then he attempts to shoot Jack. For a big guy, his stunt double can really move fast. Ganz and Billy escape, and Jack is now the only cop left standing, which means he has to do all the paperwork. Back at the precinct, some of the other detectives blame Jack for what happened, and tempers start to flare on all sides. Detective Keogh pulls the files on Ganz and Billy, and he and Jack piece together that the dead body found earlier was a member of their gang named Henry Wong. Kehoe points out one of their robbery crew is still locked up and Jack wants to talk to him. But first he has to get his butt chewed out by Captain Hayden, who is not happy about dead cops, missing suspects, or Jack's hot dog loner attitude. Jack heads to the prison to meet with Gans's old partner Reggie Hammond, who has 6 months left on his sentence and may know how to find Ganz. Reggie makes one of the greatest movie entrances ever just by sitting back in his cell singing Roxanne by the Police. When Jack tells Reggie that Ganz is on the loose, he agrees to help, but only if Jack gets him out of prison. He can only be helpful if he's out on the street. Desperate times call for desperate measures, so Jack decides to forge the paperwork to get Reggie sprung for 48 hours. Reggie steps into his temporary freedom looking quite dapper in his fancy suit, and he immediately starts testing every inch of Jack's patience. Jack reminds him that he's on a short leash, and he throws on some handcuffs to make sure Reggie knows it. Their first stop is to go see Luther, where Reggie thinks they can get a lead on Ganz. They park outside Luther's apartment, and Jack leaves Reggie handcuffed to the steering wheel while he goes to knock on the door. When no one answers, Jack just goes on inside. He got there just a bit too early because Luther comes in behind him and takes a shot at Jack before bolting. He's so busy looking over his shoulder that he doesn't even notice Reggie or the giant car door that knocks him on his ass. Look at Reggie picking up an assist. Jack and Reggie question Luther, but Luther plays dumb about Ganz. He keeps his mouth shut even after Jack manhandles him a bit. Since they're getting nothing out of him, they drop Luther off at the police station while they figure out their next move. Reggie takes Jack to Torchy's, a rough redneck bar where Billy used to work. Jack knows he will immediately be made for a cop, so he loans Reggie his badge so he can pretend to be a cop. This leads to the two men making a bet to see if Reggie can get some info without getting his ass kicked. Challenge accepted. Reggie walks in and instantly regrets the bet when he sees the bar is full of drunk cowboys. Reggie flashes Jack's badge, takes over the room, humiliates the locals, and delivers his famous new sheriff in town routine. The bartender sends Jack and Reggie towards Billy's girlfriend Casey, who lives with Gans's girlfriend Sally in Chinatown. They visit the apartment where they're greeted by two women pointing guns and swinging bats. You know, the typical response you would expect when strange men break into your apartment. Once things settle down, the ladies deny knowing where Billy is, so they leave frustrated that the lead didn't pan out. As they walk back to the car, Jack lets his frustration out by throwing as many racial slurs at Reggie as he can. Then Jack takes a cheap shot at Reggie and their tension turns into a full-on street fight. It's like a Temu version of Rocky vs. Apollo, with them beating the hell out of each other in the middle of the street until two street cops break it up. Jack ends the fight with one last cheap shot on Reggie. After the fight, Reggie tells Jack that years earlier, Reggie, Ganz, Billy, Luther, and Henry robbed a drug dealer for $500,000, and the money is hidden in the trunk of Reggie's Porsche. The next morning, Jack and Reggie stake out the parking garage where the Porsche is stored, but Luther beats them to it. He's hoping to trade the money for Rosalie's safety and doesn't notice Jack and Reggie following him. They follow Luther down into a subway station where Ganz and Billy are waiting to swap Rosalie for the cash. Just as they're about to make the swap, Ganz and Luther spot Jack. Then a uniformed cop steps in and Billy kills him without blinking. The gunshot creates instant chaos as everyone in the packed station starts screaming and running in all directions. Ganz and Billy take off in one direction with Rosalie, while Luther runs the other way with the money. This leaves Jack and Reggie with no choice but to split up. Jack goes after Ganz and Billy, while Reggie is more interested in chasing down Luther to get his money back. Jack catches up to them but gets cop-blocked when they see him with his gun out. So he lost Ganz and Billy, Luther got away with the cash, and Reggie is nowhere to be found. Jack returns to the station to sulk when he finds out Reggie left a message for him. He calls Reggie back and finds out he's at a nightclub, proving he hasn't run away, he's still been working the case. While Jack races across town, Reggie is at the club dancing and mingling with a pretty young lady named Candy. Jack shows up to interrupt his love train and learns that Reggie tracked Luther to a hotel across the street. Reggie could have took the money and ran off, but he didn't. Jack finally swallows a little pride and apologizes for treating Reggie like garbage, which for Jack is basically an emotional parade. Taking advantage of Jack's newfound kindness, Reggie convinces him to loan him some money to pay for a hotel room so he can get his love train back on track with Candy. Just when it looks like Reggie may squeeze a little fun out of his 48-hour vacation, he gets derailed again when he spots Luther walking out of the hotel. He swaps Candy for Jack and they run off to follow Luther once again. Luther hops on a bus that has Billy driving and the only other passengers are Ganz and Rosalie. Luther hands over the money, but Ganz kills him anyway because it seems like his only loyalty is to Billy. Jack and Reggie chase the stolen bus through the city in Jack's crappy Cadillac. The pursuit turns into a rolling gunfight, but thankfully everyone is a terrible shot and no one gets hit. Eventually Billy forces Jack's car to crash through a storefront, allowing them to get away. Again. Back at the station, Hayden explodes at Jack about everything, including his deal to take a convict out on the street. Surprisingly, Jack stands up to Hayden and defends Reggie. The two men still hate each other in that special buddy cop way, but now there's a thin layer of respect under all of the insults. With Reggie's 48 hours nearly up, Jack takes him for one last drink before prison. While talking it through, they realize Ganz and Billy may go back to the girlfriends because criminals in movies love making one final bad decision. Reggie's in no hurry to head back to jail, so they decide to go back to Chinatown to visit the girlfriends again. Jack and Reggie force their way into the apartment, and this time Ganz and Billy are there, and they aren't expecting company. Reggie gets the drop on Billy and warns him not to make a move. Billy's crazy ass pulls out a knife and challenges Reggie. It's the shortest challenge ever though, as Reggie shoots him point blank. So yeah, he's dead. Ganz fires off a few shots at Jack before escaping out the window with the money down into the Chinatown alleys with Jack and Reggie in hot pursuit. They look for Ganz from different directions, but they each tread slowly because the alleys are dark and it's hard to see through all of the fog. Ganz gets the drop on Reggie, and instead of killing him, he decides to use him as a hostage. Ganz calls Jack out of the shadows and he comes walking out like Clint Eastwood. Jack doesn't hesitate though, and he quickly shoots Ganz in the shoulder, setting Reggie free. Reggie can't believe that Jack took such a risky shot. Ganz gets up, pissed off, saying he can't believe that he got shot, like he actually thought he was immune to bullets or something. In one last burst of rage, Ganz charges at Jack, who just stands there with a blank expression on his face, and unloads on him, dropping him like the piece of garbage that he is. After the dust settles, Jack lets Reggie have some quality time with Candy, and he promises to call her when he gets out. Jack returns all of the recovered money to the trunk of Reggie's car, leaving Reggie surprised that Jack didn't want to keep any of it for himself. That's not Jack's style though. Jack warning him to go straight when he gets out. Reggie agrees, then immediately tries to swipe Jack's lighter because personal growth is nice and all, but old habits still have great comedic timing. And that's 48 Hours, the movie that not only launched Eddie Murphy's film career, but is also considered to be the movie that kicked off the buddy cop genre that became popular in the 80s. 48 Hours was a hit with the critics and the general public when it was released in theaters. A sequel came out 8 years later with all of the main cast returning for another 48 Hours. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, drop your favorite scene in the comments, and subscribe for more retro cinema each week. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch, and I'll see you on the next Back to the Feature.